This is the entire history of England, yeah. So we're going to start in prehistoric times. Now, there's evidence of humans kind of living in England dating back all the way to the Paleolithic era, but there's also stuff like Stonehenge, which was made in the Neolithic period. So now we're going to zoom forward a little bit to 43 AD. Now, this is where the Romans kind of turned up under Emperor Claudius, and they established the province of Britannia. They also kind of started building towns, and also they built Hadrian's Wall, which is just like some random wall in England. I don't really know why people care about it. Now, in 410, the Anglo-Saxons, kind of turned up after the Romans withdrew. They kind of turned up and started doing whatever. Now, at this time, England was divided into 7 kingdoms, which were Northumbria, Mercia, Wessex, East Anglia, Essex, Kent, and Sussex. And then in 597, St. Augustine's mission kind of happened, and that kind of just started Christianity in England. And now we're going to get to the Viking invasions. The Vikings kind of turned up and they established the territories known as the Danelaw, and this is pretty much where it was just Danish law. It was just kind of Danish. And then the King of Wessex actually stopped the Vikings getting any further into England, and now we're getting into the interesting stuff. 1066, we got the Norman Conquest, Battle of Hastings. William the Conqueror defeats King Harold II, and this leads to Norman rule in England. There's also like the Doomsday Book around this time, which is pretty much just waffling about the feudal system, which is just kind of like the hierarchical system. It's like peasants and rich people, basically. It's not that important. Now, 1215, we get the Magna Carta. Now, this is pretty important because it limits the royal power and lays the groundwork for constitutional governance. We also have between 1337 and 1453 the 100 Years' War, which is just like a few conflicts between England and France over territories and like who has the claim to the French throne. Don't know why it lasted so long. Then in 1455 to 1487, we've got the Wars of the Roses. Now, this is just a few conflicts between the houses of Lancaster and York, which culminates in the rise of the Tudor dynasty. Now, the Tudor period is 1485 to 1603, and in this time we have Henry VIII, who is best known for his 6 marriages, and also the English Reformation, which established the Church of England, Protestantism, that kind of stuff. And then we also have Elizabeth I, who kind of defeated the Spanish Armada in 1588. So now in 1603, we move on to the Stuarts, and they end in 1714. Within their time, we have the Civil War, which is 1642 to 1651. Now, this is a conflict between the Royalists and the Parliamentarians, which leads to the execution of Charles I and establishment of the Commonwealth under Oliver Cromwell. However, in 1660, we bring back the monarch because no one really liked Oliver Cromwell, and the monarchy is restored with Charles II. Now, we have the Glorious Revolution in 1688, where James II is overthrown, and this leads to constitutional monarchy under William and Mary. Now, in 1714 to 1830, we have the Georgian era. At this time, the British Empire expands significantly, and the Industrial Revolution began, so everyone just kind of gets a bit rich. It's pretty good for England. However, in 1775 to 1783, we have the American Revolution, where Britain loses its American colonies, but it's kind of fine because we still have most of the British Empire. Now, 1837 to 1901, we've got the Victorian era. Obviously, this has Queen Victoria. Her reign marked a period of industrial, cultural, and imperial expansion. There's also social reform, so significant changes in the social structure. This includes movements for labour rights and women's suffrage. Now onto the 20th century. Britain played a pretty big part in both of the world wars, and the aftermath of the world wars led to the decline of the British Empire and the establishment of the welfare state. So now we're through to modern England, 21st century. Up until 2016, England was part of the EU, but then there was kind of Brexit, and now we're not that anymore, and nothing really important has happened since. So that is the entire history of England.